Okay, we're going to make a quick and hearty sort of soup stew out of these ingredients here. Now, this recipe has been designed to meet 5 key criteria. It needs to be cheap, tasty, nutritious, foolproof and scalable. So let's just talk about those 5 things. So this is cheap. These total ingredients must have cost less than £2. I actually got a bit of a bargain on these sausages because they were reduced from £2 down to £1.30. But you can get sausages for less than that anyway. We're going to make a sort of sausage casserole, sausage stew type of thing. So let's talk about tasty. A lot of flavour in these sausages. We're also going to add a vegetable stock cube and herbs, dried herbs for flavour. Just a little pinch of dried herbs, so that packet will go a long way. Nutritious, there's a good range of vegetables here. We've got frozen peas, we've got potatoes, we've got carrots, onions and celery. There's a lot of fat soluble vitamins in those sausages. It's going to have a nice broth to it, so we're going to make sure that it's all eaten up, which is good. So this gives you probably 2 or 3 of your 5 a day. Foolproof, honestly this is going to be so simple you won't believe it. We're just not measuring anything, we're just going to throw it all together. You could put more carrots or less carrots, you could put more potatoes, more peas, you could substitute out any of these ingredients for something else if you don't like it. Don't like celery, put something else in there, put red pepper in there. If you don't like peas, try sweet corn. Any of these ingredients can be substituted out. And scalable, you can just add more vegetables and maybe another stock cube and another pint of water to this and you'll make twice as much. The sausages can be spun out to feed either 4 people or 8 people depending on your needs. I'm just going to serve this with some nice crusty bread to dip in it. And for £2 or less, we're going to serve probably 4 people more than adequately. We could just scale it up, add a few more potatoes, a few more vegetables and a bit more cooking liquor and it would feed 8 people quite reasonably. So anyway, let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is finely dice this celery. I'm just going to chop it up into small pieces. There we go. I'm also going to chop up and finely dice this onion. There we go. No need for fantastic precision there. We've just chopped that into small pieces. And that's going to go straight into the frying pan first on a gentle heat with a little bit of oil. Probably worth noting I've used quite a deep frying pan here because I'm going to cook everything in one dish. That's another thing that makes this foolproof. Everything's going to go in one dish. We're going to minimise on washing up, just make it easy. So once we hear those vegetables starting to sizzle, we're just going to take each of the sausages and take the skin off, like that. Discard the skin. I'm just going to break these up into little pieces like this. Kind of like meatballs really, I suppose. Now these are very soft, finely textured sausages. You could use more meaty sausages than this if you prefer. Personally I do prefer those, but this is what I've got. Okay, now I've only actually used 5 of my 8 sausages and I think I'm going to put the rest of them back in the fridge because actually I think for 4 people that's probably enough. Now I'm just going to very gently move things around a little bit. I've got to be careful here because I don't want to break up these pieces of sausage. They are quite delicate when they're out of their skins like this, so I don't want to break them up into pieces, but you can see they're starting to take some colour there, which is exactly what I want. So that's it, I'm just going to leave that to cook for a little bit longer. So the potatoes, I'm going to leave the skins on them because it's more nutrition again, all the goodness and fibre and best nutrients are right there under the skin, and these are nice clean potatoes. Just going to give them a little rinse and we'll leave the skins on. Carrots on the other hand, skins are a little bit, well, they're not by any means dirty, but I think we will peel those because the skin is just a little bit rough and perhaps a bit gritty. So the carrots we're just going to cut into quarter dice, I think, so we'll just cut them lengthways like that and like that. Be a little bit careful with this. You can cut them into, if you cut them into larger chunks you'll end up with more crispy carrot. Cut them into smaller pieces, obviously they'll cook down softer. So you can choose what you really want them to be like just by adjusting the size of the pieces. Okay, so that's our carrots. So let's chop up these potatoes as well, and we're going to go for slightly larger pieces here because potatoes in my experience cook slightly quicker than carrots. So we're aiming for pieces that will cook all together. This is part of what makes it foolproof or simpler, is we will adjust the cooking time by the size of the pieces of vegetables we cut. So slightly larger pieces of potato than of carrot, and then they can all go in pretty much at the same time. Okay, let's head on back over to the cooker and see what's going on over there. Okay, so back over here at the cooker, the sausages and vegetables took a little bit of colour and browning, and they're not quite cooked yet, but they're starting to brown off. So we've just taken them out of the pan into a bowl for the moment, while we go in with the potatoes and carrots, the pasta, little pinch of mixed herbs, maybe a teaspoonful, half a teaspoonful. The stock, nice little bit there. And then we'll just top that off with water and we'll bring it up to a simmer. We'll just jiggle that around so that pasta gets nicely immersed in the water. Those little pieces of vegetable and sausage that were burnt onto the pan, this stock will lift them off and they will become part of the broth that flavours this stew. Okay, I'm just going to leave that to come to the boil. The frozen peas we're not going to put in just yet. These literally just need to be thawed out, so we're going to put them in right near the end. So it's just coming back to a simmer now, so I'm just going to add in these bits on top. Just nestle them down so they do get cooked in the top of the broth. And there we go. So we're just going to leave that to simmer now for probably 20 minutes or so while the pasta just hydrates, the potatoes and carrots cook, and everything just comes together. The sausages will get a final little bit of simmering in the broth, and of course these sausages will now release some more of their flavour into this broth and season it and flavour it. So while that's simmering away, let's just talk about what else you could do with this. You could put chilies in here if you like a bit of spice. You could put a bit of curry powder in there and turn this into a sort of curry type of broth. You could use pretty much any flavourings you like. So if you're a vegetarian, you might want to just replace these sausages with a big jar of white beans and maybe double up on the onions. Get some extra caramelised onions in there at the start and get more flavour from those. Beans in at the same time as the carrots and potatoes, and have a nice hearty bean and potato broth. So we're just going to turn that down so it's on a gentle simmer, just bubbling away gently now. If at any point it looks like it's drying out a bit too much, we'll just put some more water in, top it back up to this level, because this is going to be a stew that has a broth that we can dunk our bread in. You know, if we've been out in the cold, on a windy winter day, this is just something hearty and warming to come back to. Okay, so this has been cooking about 20-25 minutes now, and we can test that the vegetables are nice and soft by just poking them with a knife. Just perfect. So the potatoes, when they're done, they'll just fall off a knife like that. You might be thinking this looks a little bit kind of dull now. So now's the time to liven it up with those frozen peas, and they'll just cook through in the remaining cooking time of this dish. So it just needs another couple of minutes, and those peas really just need to warm through. Okay, so there it is. That was really simple to make, and It's just jammed full of lovely stuff. Tender chunks of sausages, nice vegetables, and this delicious broth here is going to be great for dipping my crusty bread into. So let's just have a little taste of that and I'll tell you what it is like. Let's just have a little taste. Hot. That's really, really delicious, really hearty and quite adaptable. So there we go, that is my super budget, cheap, tasty, nutritious, foolproof, scalable sausage casserole stew soup thing. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you again soon.